Intense conflict during high-conflict divorce oftentimes serves as the backdrop for murder. In this video, I'm going to break down the case of Kevin West, a fire chief who killed his wife just hours before their divorce was finalized. Welcome to Criminal Motives. My name is Matthew Pfeiffer. I'm a therapist, coach, author, and on this channel, I give my thoughts and reactions to events that are happening in true crime. If that's the type of content you enjoy, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're notified each and every time I upload a new video. With all that being said, let's get this episode started. All right, before we get into today's episode, I want to give a quick disclaimer, quick trigger warning. We're going to be talking about themes of death and dying. We're going to be talking about themes of betrayal trauma. And we're also going to be talking about themes of domestic violence. I also might talk about the dangers of leaving a toxic relationship. That being said, I take topics of domestic violence, toxic relationships, and abuse of all kinds very seriously on this channel. If you're someone who's in a toxic relationship and you're not sure what to do, or maybe you've left and you're still dealing with some of the ramifications of it, this is the reason why I partnered with BetterHelp. If you go into the links in the description box down below, you'll see links for BetterHelp. You can connect with a licensed therapist, and one of the best parts about it is that you can do this from the comfort and convenience of your home. You can even do it on your lunch break. When you use the links in the description box down below, you'll get 15% off your first month of therapy. Just remember, you are not alone. Click the link and schedule with a licensed therapist today.
Kevin West was a man who made a career out of being a savior. He started as an EMT and worked his way up to battalion chief for the Kaminista-Washougal Fire Department. With 22 years of service, he was the person you called on the worst day of your life, the calm voice in the chaos, a trusted leader and a pillar of the community. But while Kevin was the public face of heroism, Marcel was the foundation. Known to everyone as Marcy, she matched his work ethic with a quiet strength of her own. She spent more than 20 years working as a unit coordinator at a local hospital. Away from work, she nurtured a creative side, including playing the violin. Together, they turned steady careers into a comfortable life. The Wests lived in a 5-bedroom, roughly 3,000 square foot home in a sought-after residential neighborhood where comparable properties sold for $700,000 to $800,000. From the outside, their life appeared stable and unremarkable. A long-term marriage, 2 children, and the steady, rain-soaked routine of the Pacific Northwest. During trial testimony, Kevin was asked to describe how he and Marcy met.
If you're seated, please state your name in full and spell your last name for the court's record. Kevin William West, W-E-S-T. Go ahead, go.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
Just to get a little bit of background on you, what do you currently do for me?
I'm retired battalion chief.
And now we understand you grew up in Eugene, is that correct?
Yes.
And how long did you live in Eugene?
28 years.
And so when you, how and when did you first meet Marcy?
I worked for Eugene Fire Non-Emergency Transport System. It was a pilot project. I would transport cancer patients from Willamette Valley Cancer Center to the 6th floor at Sacred Heart Hospital where she was employed. And that's when I first met her.
Okay. And that's what kind of patients were those?
Cancer patients.
Oh, and so then I understand you were pursuing your paramedic degree at that time?
Yes, it was.
And did you get that?
I did.
Where did you get that?
Lane Community College in Eugene.
What year was that?
In 2000.
And so 2000, you're still living in Eugene at the time, I understand.
Yes, I am.
And then how did your relationship with Marcy develop in those early days?
So in those early days, we, after we met at the hospital and some time had passed, we moved on to living together in an apartment. And we continued until I moved up to Camas when I was hired by the city of Camas.
And that's before the two departments joined forces?
That's correct, in roughly 2011.
And did you and Marcy get married at some point?
We did in 2002.
And where did you get married?
May 24th, 2002 at Edgefield McMenamins in Troutdale.
So how's your marriage starting out?
I would race down there just to see her during the academy.
We're very much in love. On the morning of January 8th, 2024, that marriage came to an abrupt end. According to police reports, Kevin told investigators he woke up to his dog whining and realized Marcy was experiencing what he believed to be a seizure. He said he called 911 almost immediately. The first responders who arrived were not strangers. They were Kevin's own colleagues from the fire department. Despite their efforts, Marcy was pronounced dead approximately 44 minutes after they arrived at the home.
So something here, and I actually meant to stop and pause earlier. Now, I don't want this to be a general statement because I certainly don't mean all, but a lot of men who are firefighters, police officers, military, you'll hear a lot of people, a lot of men who are in those type of fields also engage in domestic violence. Again, not saying all. I know plenty that are perfectly fine, right? However, there's lots of reasons for that. If you scroll on social media, you'll hear people say that they're all narcissists. That's not true. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they oftentimes experience trauma, right? So not only do they experience trauma, not only do they see trauma often, but they also, a lot of times, again, I don't want to be too general, a lot of times don't do anything to take care of that trauma, right? To relieve themselves of that trauma. And that's not an excuse for domestic violence or anything like that. And in some cases, it definitely is narcissism and some other events, but sometimes can have more of like a God complex, right? Especially when they're saving lives, but also because especially living in a place like this where they live in a secondary city, he sounds like he's moved up the ranks pretty quickly, pretty easily, and is in charge of a lot of people right now. I don't want to be too general because just because someone is leader and in charge of a lot of different people and a lot of different things doesn't make them narcissistic, doesn't make them abusive, doesn't mean they engage in domestic violence. However, the ones that do oftentimes feel like they can get away with it because they can kind of talk their way through. Where oftentimes women are attracted to men who are charismatic, who are leaders, who are in uniform, and then also those type of careers oftentimes also attract abusive and unhealthy men. I said all that to say that as these guys are coming in, and you heard the narrator say that these are guys that Kevin knows, I would not be surprised if internally, right, or even subconsciously, he thought that he could get away with it because he knew them, because he could just talk his way out of it, because he thought like, oh, it's just Kevin, right? It's just Mike from up the street. Oh, I work with these guys, all day long, so I can easily just, I know that Mike, if I push Mike around, he's going to give up on this, and so I want you to think about that theme here in a second. I'm going to touch on that topic again here in a second. They do something specific with the case, and I'm glad they did to make sure that those type of dynamics don't play out here. But let's continue.
Called 911 almost immediately. The first responders who arrived were not strangers. They were Kevin's own colleagues from the fire department. Despite their efforts, Marcy was pronounced dead approximately 44 minutes after they arrived at the home. At first, there were no obvious signs of foul play. Later that morning, when the medical examiner arrived and Marcy's body was repositioned, investigators noted several unusual details. Her bra strap appeared misaligned and her pants were inside out. Both observations were documented but not immediately explained. 2 days later, the autopsy revealed subtle bruising to the neck and trauma to the head, findings that were not typical of a seizure disorder. Still, the evidence was not yet sufficient to definitively classify the death as a homicide. The manner of death was ruled inconclusive, but the physical findings raised concern. That concern prompted a deeper investigation. On January 11th, the case was transferred to the Clark County Sheriff's Office because of Kevin's position within the fire department. Around the same time, detectives began receiving information from people close to the couple. They heard about financial strain, tension in the marriage, and a woman Kevin appeared unusually close to at a local bowling alley. Investigators now had unanswered forensic questions and the outline of a possible motive. Nearly 2 weeks later, on January 23rd, detectives observed Kevin out drinking with the same woman. Rather than confront him publicly, investigators chose a different approach. Later that day, they arrived unannounced at his home to speak with him.
All right, so before they do their interview, I want to get into, so obviously there's another woman. One of the things that you're going to hear, and whether it's my videos or if you're watching other true crime, there's always the big three: sex, money, and drugs. Those are the big three when it comes to a lot of these different cases when someone is murdered. Obviously, sex is a part of this. With him already moving on, obviously, we're going to find out that this person this mistress has been there, the entire time. But those are the big three when it comes to these type of crimes: sex, drugs, and money. And sometimes there's some variations there. Sometimes it might be two of the three, those sorts of things. Sometimes there's some variations, but typically, even if there is a variation, it's typically under one of those three subheaders. But let's continue.
I know, puppy, I know. I'm sorry. Sorry. No worries. My name is Dean Tellison. I'm with the Clark County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
This is my partner, Lawrence Zapata.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have a few minutes to chat with us?
Yeah, for sure. Come on in.
Oh, thank you. How's it going?
Good.
Hi, puppy. What's your name?
That's Sadie.
Sadie?
Yeah. Come on, please have a seat.
Thank you. And just so you know, my fancy new dude, he keeps the body cams rolling. So
Okay, no worries.
audio and video.
I'm sorry, I thought you guys were like being prepared or whatever. I had no idea.
Not the first time we've been
Yeah.
mistaken for that, and it won't be the
Yeah.
last. So, it's nice to meet you. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances. We've been asked by the medical examiner to just come out, follow up with you, routine interview, and make sure that we're not missing anything. Our understanding is Marcy was in her 40s or late 40s. So obviously younger, kind of unexpected death at this point. So just wanted to come out and chat with you, hopefully get a little more background
Yeah,
information
of course.
on Marcy, if that's okay.
That'd be just fine.
And then more recently, with the days leading up to Marcy's passing, are you able to talk to us about, was it normal days? Are you able to go through kind of?
Yeah, I tell you, like right the very last day, we had a really great, I went and told her I was going down to, we watched movies all day.
Okay.
I went down to Ichi and their clothes. And then I texted her and said, hey, I'm going to go get you noodles. So we went to the Chinese garden,
Okay.
whatever it's called. And, we had dinner.
Mhm.
We had a good night.
Did you guys go out to eat then?
No, I brought it home to her.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that's right. Sorry, you said watching movies.
Yeah.
What'd you guys watch?
What did we watch? We watched like 3 movies, but
Marathon.
yeah, I can't tell you. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah,
It's been a busy month.
it's been the worst 2 weeks. But she had nothing. She had nothing. We don't have narcotic painkillers in the house. We don't have, she had just, I don't know, man. There's no possibility. I mean, she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, doesn't do anything like that. She's not going to overdose. She's, there's absolutely nothing that's going to show up in that toxicology report.
Couple other questions popped up over her life, looking back, trying to figure out if there was anything more.
Yeah.
Outside of that chest pain, any other like big medical stuff or conditions, complaints, anything like that?
No, I mean, she had a lot of dental bridging done. If that's the right term.
Okay.
But 2 kids, no complications with the pregnancies. I delivered my second.
Okay.
Pretty awesome. But no, it's just a shock. I mean, there's just nothing. She just was unhealthy, healthy. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Just she didn't exercise.
Okay.
We worked out a lot, but I'll get older. I don't work out like I used to either. But yeah.
During that interview, detectives locked Kevin into a baseline version of events. He said he and Marcy had takeout, watched movies, went to bed, and that she later complained of a headache before suffering a sudden medical emergency. Kevin also insisted that Marcy had no history of substance abuse and no significant underlying medical conditions. By doing so, he effectively eliminated many common explanations for an accidental or natural death. Investigators were left with 2 possibilities: an extraordinarily rare undiagnosed medical event, or the neck and head trauma documented in the autopsy. As the investigation continued, detectives began interviewing Kevin's friends and coworkers. They expected loyalty. Instead, they heard something very different.
Full name is Terry Scott Slocum. The last name is Slocun.
Go ahead.
My full name is Kathleen Linton, Linton. I go by Katie.
Kevin Villines, Villines.
I'm an EMT firefighter for Kamoskashugo Fire Department.
And how long have you been with the Kamoskashugo Fire Department?
I volunteered, started in 93 and was hired on in 2000.
Okay.
I am a firefighter with Kamoskashugo Fire Department.
And what is your current role with the Kamoskashugo Fire Department?
I'm a firefighter, EMT, and a captain.
Now, I understand that you're currently retired. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Where were you working prior to your retirement?
Kamoskashugo Fire Department,
And when did you retire?
November 5th this year.
Now, prior to January 8th of 2024, how would you describe your relationship with Kevin West?
One of my good friends of the fire department,
Best friends?
best friends.
Around this time period, what was Kevin specifically telling you about his relationship with Marcy?
Not sure how to answer it with that. I did ask him at one point, because I'd heard he was getting a divorce and moving out. And then he'd made a comment. I was working, I believe, an overtime shift about plans they had in the future. And I did ask, are you not getting divorced?
Okay, and what was his response?
He had told me that he had talked to a lawyer and that he would only have $1,600 or $1,800 a month to live on if he got a divorce, which seemed odd to me. And I did ask, like,
Objection to relevance, move to strike. I understood it. She was about to relate part of the conversation, so I'll overrule the objection. She said it seemed odd to her. It seemed odd to her, and so she said she was going to ask you something. So if it's related to your conversation with Mr. West, you can answer. If it's your own speculations or discussions with someone else, you can't answer.
it was a conversation I had with him, and I asked, how could you only have $1,600 or $1,800 a month? We make a pretty good living. I just didn't see that, and he just said he had talked to a lawyer, and that was what they told him, and that he was stuck financially.
Okay. How would you have described?
So you heard me earlier say that the big three, right? Finances, sex, financial, and drugs. I'm also with her. I don't necessarily believe that he was only going to have $1,600 to live off of. One of the reasons why I think that he is saying that, right, is he obviously would have had to pay something. But oftentimes people who have this type of mindset that he does, who lack empathy the way that someone like him likely does, they also want to play victim all at the same time. So as strange as it sounds, him telling her that he would only have $1,600 a month to live off of likely was him trying to play victim, like, oh, I have to stay, right? It's cheaper to keep her. I have to, I can't even make it through month to month. Even though she knew, right, because they obviously work in the same industry, so she knows how much they make. That probably just wasn't true. Right. And depending on what part of the process, what part of the divorce process they were in, that probably wasn't going to happen. I mean, that not only was that not going to happen, that likely he likely didn't even have that type of information. That's usually not till way later in the divorce process that after kind of discovery and those sorts of things. And so, it really just kind of shows you his mindset that he was really set on doing this. But now, just because he was only going to have $1,600 to live off of, obviously doesn't justify murder. B, that may have been like what he actually had to pay out. Right? It's more likely that's what his child support payment would have been. Maybe like a little bit of alimony. He may have had to give up the house and those sorts of things. But people like this also want people to feel bad for them all at the same time.
Describe your relationship with Kevin.
Both personal, very close. We hunted a lot together. Spent as much time as we could. Then professional at work. At that point, he was also a battalion chief.
Okay. Did he express any reasons why he was reluctant to divorce Marcy?
Yes.
And what was that?
Financial.
Can you explain further?
Yeah. Every fireman and cop puts in a lot of years.
Objection, non-responsive, no foundation rule.
You can go ahead.
Thank you. It's like your worst nightmare. You've built a pension for 20 years. And then say your wife comes up to you and says she wants a divorce, right? By that time, you're ready to get out of the field. And now you're worried about getting rid of 50% of your stuff.
Sorry. I'll sustain the objection.
And on the day of Marcy's passing, when you were with him at the residence, was there a
I want to finish my thought earlier with this whole financial piece. Someone who lacks empathy like this likely doesn't want to pay anything, right? Let alone, we don't know if the whole he only has $1,600 a month to live off of would be true or not. But he likely didn't want to pay anything. But also keep in mind that he's also having an affair. Right. So if you don't want to pay those things, then guess what? The things that you probably shouldn't be doing is probably cheating, probably doing, living a vicarious life. So it's interesting, right, to see this type of mindset that he would rather end his wife's life than to pay her child support rather than to continue to work. And keep in mind that a lot of these numbers that we're talking about, especially going through the divorce process, are negotiable quite often, right? So let's continue.
Point that just you and Kevin West were alone together?
Yes.
And when was that?
As I was leaving the household, we had driven up to Seattle to get his daughter and brought her back. And then I was in the entryway leaving.
And was this in the evening or midday, morning?
Evening.
Did he say something to you about Marcy's passing?
Yes.
What did he say?
That he was relieved and that a burden had been lifted off his shoulders.
No further question.
That is a very cold response to having your wife of, let's just say, 20 years passing away. Right. So, being relieved and being, feeling like that there was a burden lifted off of you, right, is very telling of his motives.
Did you ultimately learn that Marcy West had passed?
Yes.
Without going into specifically why, did you have concerns that the death may not have been natural?
Yes.
And did you report that information?
I did.
To whom?
I came in to talk to the sheriff, and they stopped me and redirected me to the ME's office.
Okay. Did you then go to the medical examiner's
I did.
office? Is that a yes?
Yes,
And did you convey to them your concerns?
I did.
And did you originally ask to remain anonymous?
I did,
And why was that?
because I was scared.
Why were you scared?
Objection, roll of spin.
I have no further questions.
Something about so one thing I want to circle back to something that that they said earlier, that they actually thought that his friends and his coworkers were going to be loyal to Kevin and actually stand up for him and not say anything, and they were going to be difficult, which is typically what you see whenever someone is a police officer, fire, in the fire department, those type of careers like we were talking about earlier. But with her saying that she was scared, I have a feeling that a lot of people, in particular the ones that are testifying, have seen the other side of him, right? And know that he's capable of doing something like this. They know that he's capable of, and they've heard him talk. Maybe he's described, maybe he even actually said something about what he was actually going to do if things didn't work out. Or maybe people oftentimes, a lot of times people talk about people being liars and manipulators and those sorts of things and how good they are at it. But a lot of times people do tell on themselves, right? And they do tell on themselves in situations like this. And more often than not, people don't take it serious. When I say they don't take it serious, they take it serious. They might be like, what did he mean by that? Right. Thinking like, this person just has a dark sense of humor, those sorts of things. And then oftentimes it's not until something actually happens that they're like, whoa, this is a bit too far. Until that person, you'll see in other situations like this, someone will ask for someone to help, or they'll, and sometimes that person is actually kind of testing, bringing subjects like this up to test them out to see like how loyal they're going to be. And obviously in this situation, thankfully they're not.
And approximately what time did you arrive at the restaurant?
Sometime around 8 in the morning, 0800-ish.
And who was there when you arrived?
I remember Michael Brown being there. I remember Scott Slocum was also there. Mark Woodland was there. There was Washougal PD officers there. I don't remember anyone else so much.
Okay. And were you there in a professional or personal capacity?
Personal.
Did you speak to Kevin that morning?
Yes.
And where was that?
We were inside the residence, downstairs in the kitchen area, the West residence.
And was there a point at which the two of you were alone?
Yeah.
And what did he say to you with regard to Marcy's passing?
He said, I feel bad for not feeling bad.
And
The picture that emerged was not of a devastated husband, but of a man who had emotionally detached from his marriage long before the 911 call. Still, suspicion and character evidence were not enough. Investigators needed medical certainty. By the end of January, they had it. The medical examiner's preliminary findings showed hemorrhaging in the neck muscles and petechial hemorrhaging in the eyes, findings highly consistent with manual strangulation and not consistent with a seizure-related death. Investigators now believed Marcy had been killed. 8 days after the initial interview, detectives returned to the West residence, this time with a search warrant. Before executing it, they conducted one final interview to see whether Kevin would contradict himself. When detectives arrived, they noticed a car parked in the driveway belonging to Cynthia Ward, the woman from the bowling alley. With that in mind, investigators pressed Kevin about the state of his marriage.
Hey, how's it going, sir? Hey, come on. Oh, thank you. Okay. How's it going?
I'm okay.
Good.
Come on in.
Had some follow-up and a couple other things we wanted to touch up on.
Yeah, sure.
Now's an okay time?
Yeah, let's come on in here.
Sure. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I had the area shot on you guys.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. Here, puppy. Here.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
We're at that point of having time for ourselves.
Kids out of the house a little bit.
Maybe through every weekend, she's Amtrakking her way down here. Ted's here one out of every 3 nights. We're starting to have just nights where it's just us. We can watch a movie, where she wanted to take me to post another bed.
Here, Kevin paints a picture of an improving relationship. When he claims she wanted to take me to the coast, he describes a woman planning future events with him.
Yeah.
And these are some uncomfortable questions. You said no one else is here right now? Okay. As far as the medical examiner's office, some of these follow-up ones that we're more or less required to ask, or we need the answers to. Are you able to remember when the last time you and Marcy were intimate?
That night.
That night? Okay. So the 7th, leading into the 8th?
First night of that.
Okay.
This is, I think, the second or third time that we've seen him cry. And knowing the things that we know with the type of things that people have testified with, we can say that I feel comfortable saying that these are fake. This is a fake cry, right? Not only does it seem and come across performative, his face is dry. Every time we've seen him cry, it's been seems very forced. And then also we know, and then it goes hand in hand with some of the things that he's said behind the scenes to some of his friends, saying that he doesn't miss her. Not, it feels like a relief off. So it feels like a burden off his shoulders. Told the person that he feels bad for not feeling bad. Those sorts of things. So what are the tears about, right? And not only what are the tears about, but we don't even really see any tears, right? So we kind of know where he's at with all of this as well.
And then again, I apologize for the making you relive it and be the brightness of the questions.
I understand you guys are just like me, and you're doing your job. So.
It's okay. And that night, was it sexual intercourse? Okay.
We got a good date.
And like I said, if you need a second, feel free. You mentioned that was before bed. Where was that at in the bed? And then was that before or after she got sick or wasn't feeling well? Before. And kind of an odd question, but we have to ask. Any like rough sex or anything like that? Okay.
So the rough sex question comes in, and that becomes very important because of the strangulation. You know, not everyone. I know that this and I'm going to give another disclaimer for trigger warning. Not everyone has sex the same, right? Not everyone makes love, so to speak. Some people are very rough. They can. Some people will grab and hold and even choke each other, and a lot of situations that can be very consensual, and people enjoy it. So him saying that didn't happen rules that out. And I want to circle back. I actually forgot to bring attention to this. So I mentioned before that the God complex, where he works with the people that he investigates, or that were investigating this. What they did in this case is that they actually outsourced it to another whole investigation team. So he didn't have access to be able to talk to people that were considered his coworkers because of the conflict of interest. So I'm glad that they did that in this situation. Oftentimes, I don't know why that should be like just an automatic thing, but I'm glad they did that here. But oftentimes they don't. A lot of times they just allow for people that are close to the situation, too close to the situation, too close to comfort in a lot of situations to continue through investigations.
When asked whether he and Marcy engaged in rough sex, Kevin said no. Investigators noted the significance. Given the documented neck injuries, denying rough or consensually aggressive sexual activity eliminated one of the few accidental explanations for those findings.
And then again, kind of an odd question, but when we reviewed the photographs, it looked like some of her clothes were like her pants were inside out. Can you think of any reason, like had you ever seen her wear them inside out before, or do you know how that might have happened?
So she was body conscious. She may have put them on in the dark.
Okay.
I have no idea what that would be.
Okay.
I have no idea what that would be.
And if it's leggings, I'd imagine it's probably the same material inside and out.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And then you mentioned the bra. Would she wear a bra when she slept even?
Oh, yes.
She would?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Always.
And then we don't have to go up yet, but is the bedroom still more or less in the same like configuration, or?
No, because what I did is the mattress had cat urine stain on it.
Oh, okay.
But I was having a hard time. I want new furniture. So the guys helped me last Monday.
Okay.
Came by. We took photographs. I took photographs of the furniture without the mattress, and then we took apart the frame. I took it up to they'll help me take it up to my buddy Scott's house. It was shot.
Mm-hmm.
And my other buddy Jeff is selling on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
Whatever. And the Peloton and the entertainment center that was in the other room.
So that is a huge red flag. So you mean to tell me days after your wife passes away tragically, you sold your whole bedroom set, you sold all of her belongings, you sold her Peloton, that's very, very weird. Right? I can understand eventually getting rid of it, but you're talking about days? I don't even with planning of funerals and family coming in and out of town and, just everything that goes into people passing away, I can't even imagine having the time to, even the mental capacity to put things on Facebook Marketplace and to take apart a bed, to go shopping for a new bedroom set or anything like that, right? So that really shows the mindset, right? Obviously, at this point, these investigators don't have the information that we just saw in the courtroom, but that is a huge red flag that and this is common that you'll see a common point that you'll see in a lot of these type of cases. The Corey Richens case was partying like days after her husband had passed away. In this situation, he sold everything like days after, right? Now, of course, everyone grieves differently and those sorts of things, but like to that's pretty extreme, right? To sell everything, it'd even be maybe even a little bit different if you got rid of one thing, like someone was asking, the sister or something like that was asking about the Peloton, and the wife was supposed to give it to her or something along those lines, and you just followed through with it, but to give away everything, to sell everything, to put things on Facebook Marketplace, and to that, I mean, those are some pretty significant moves for a grieving widower, allegedly.
Just my daughter's probably going to move back here with her fiance. She gets out of college, and so that baby room's going to be there, so I'm trying to prep that.
Gotcha.
But I needed different furniture.
Kevin admits he disposed of the bed and mattress just days after Marcy's death. To investigators, this raised alarms. Beds and mattresses are common sources of biological evidence, and discarding them eliminated the chance to test for signs of a struggle.
And then moving forward, and again, this is another couple questions that I apologize for being blunt, but do you happen to know Cynthia? And how do you know her? I guess what's your relationship?
So I had an affair.
Okay.
With Cynthia. And I'm struggling with my choice of doing that. I knew of her in the early 2000s.
Okay. I guess going back, did you meet her like early 2000s, or when did you first?
I met her because she was a Washington volunteer.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And as far as like timeline of the affair, when was that happening?
Right now.
Right now? Okay. How long has that been going on?
I talked to her once on Messenger in July.
Okay.
And
By getting Kevin to acknowledge the affair, investigators finally had a clear motive. In the next segment, he makes a startling admission.
it was absolutely just simply we're having an affair. She came here. She was here the night you guys were here on Tuesday. We were in the garage and having a drink when you guys came.
Okay.
And I told her that you guys were here when I went out there, and I told her that I expected, to tell you guys everything about it, and
So not only do you days later sell all of your wife's things, you also have your mistress over during the investigation, like she's actually there. So the last time that the investigators were at his house, she was there. She was he won't say hiding in the garage, but she was there in the garage. Then now his garage, from the sounds of it, and you'll hear about this a little bit later, sounds like more of like a finished garage where like you can go, and it's kind of like a game room where you can go and watch TV and those sorts of things. And the reason why I say hidden is because even though they weren't necessarily hiding it, like she also didn't come out, she also didn't greet, they also didn't know that she was there. So when just like the old saying goes, when there's smoke, there's fire, right? There's a shroud of secrecy, not only because of the cheating, but also a shroud of secrecy that's continuing with the investigators, of people not knowing that she's there. And so it kind of goes along the lines of thinking, if there's nothing to hide, then why are there things being hidden, right? If there's nothing to lie about, then why lie? And so it really shows not only motive, right? Not only motive of keeping certain things secret and keeping things close to the vest, of not being transparent, but also shows that you have something to hide, right? That there's more to discover, right? That there's going to be more that is going to be uncovered as the investigators go along, right? Because if there's, like I said before, if there's nothing to hide, then why hide, right? And so obviously you've hidden the fact that you've sold everything, right? There's a lot to hide there, because there's potential evidence, there's potential DNA evidence, there's potential evidence with the mistress. He likely at this point doesn't want the mistress questioned. I think that he may have thought originally that he could have thought that he would have gotten away had his own department and had his own city, so to speak, been the ones that were going to be investigating this. But let's continue.
Here, Kevin admits that during the earlier January interview, Cynthia had been in the garage drinking while detectives sat inside the house. Investigators saw this as evidence of...
And also, days later, you're already drinking. Not only are you with your mistress, but you're out drinking, having people over, right? It just really shows the coldness that he had towards his wife.
Deliberate deception and compartmentalization. Immediately afterward, detectives executed the search warrant. They dug through every room and, inside a box in the garage, found cards and letters written by Kevin to Cynthia Ward.
Your state moves to admit Exhibit 84 to Christmas cards.
Oh, yes. 84 is a
Detective Arvizo, would you please read one of those letters for us?
Sure. I'll start with the Merry Christmas card. It states, Cynthia, this Christmas we had to be apart. Although apart, the day was spent with only thoughts of you. The holiday spirit was alive because of the love we share. I'm always feeling the warmth of your love and the laughter we share. You're my Christmas gift I will never forget. Every year forward, we will create new traditions, share holiday memories, and feel the Christmas spirit because of the traditions we create. Our family will grow as one together, looking forward to sharing the holidays with us. From the Christmas tree, the food we prepare, the home we make, to the decorations we display, our love will be present everywhere. Next year, 2024, will be our year. We will be together celebrating every day with love and understanding of what it means for you and I to be together. Our story will ring in the new year, loud for all to hear.
From there, the investigation moved from the physical scene to the digital record.
So it really shows you his desire and his thought process of moving forward with the mistress. So a lot of times, going back to the big three that I was talking about with money, sex, and drugs, sometimes those can cross over too, right? If the mistress was putting pressure on him to not pay out as much in child support or whatever the case is, or that they needed a certain amount, sometimes they can overlap as well.
Text messages recovered by investigators established a timeline that contradicted Kevin's narrative. They learned he had planned to move out on January 8th, the same day Marcy died and intended to sign divorce papers the following morning. Marcy suspected the marriage was near its end. In one message, she wrote, "You have made yourself clear that I have made you unhappy for 23 years. Financial records introduced at trial showed the couple was approximately $100,000 in debt. Prosecutors argued that if Kevin divorced, he faced significant monthly obligations he could not afford. The state's theory was simple. Divorce was expensive. Murder was permanent. With this new context, the medical examiner re-evaluated the case. On March 20th, 2024, the conclusion was officially changed to homicide by strangulation. 2 days later, Kevin West was arrested. At trial, prosecutors revealed that Kevin became engaged to Cynthia Ward just months after Marcy's death, evidence they used to rebut the image of a grieving husband.
And how long have you lived there with Kevin West?
I don't know the approximate date, but probably 5 months or.
So this is just my opinion, but I suspect that she's just as guilty as he is. I believe that she knew this was going to happen. Not only was he planning on moving out the day that he killed his wife, allegedly, but not only did that not happen, but also they get engaged months after the death of his wife. And you're going to see in her attitude and her demeanor that in my opinion, that not only did she know that something was happening, but that she possibly could have been a part of the plan.
6 months. And what is the current, are you and Kevin West in a romantic relationship?
Yes.
And what is the current state of your relationship?
We're engaged.
When did you first hear from Kevin after Marcy's death?
I texted him and said, "Good morning, how's everything?" Just kind of a normal good morning. And I didn't hear from him. So it was probably 9 o'clock in the morning when I heard something from him, and he said that she had passed and he was going to Seattle to get Megan.
And when was the first time that you went to that residence after Marcy's death?
Kevin's birthday.
The birthday party?
Yeah.
You were at Kevin's home on January 23rd when the police arrived, were you not?
Yes, I was.
You were with him in the garage?
I was.
So I don't know when Kevin's birthday was, but so the death was on Marcy's death was on January 6th, and then she was over there January 23rd. I don't believe them. I believe that she was probably over there a lot sooner, a lot earlier than that. It seems like the two of them are too comfortable with each other, and like I said before, I believe that she kind of already knew and suspected. And for them to, and the reason why I say that she was probably there a lot sooner than the 23rd was that they've moved everything else so quickly. Right? Why would I suspect that they even waited that amount of time? I don't, and now, yes, that is quick. Yes, that is fast. But with these two being the way that they are and having the type of mindset that they do, I suspect that they probably moved. I wouldn't be surprised if she was there the same week. I don't want to say like the next day or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were together like, within a handful of hours.
And you stayed in the garage the whole time that he spoke with police, did you not?
Yes, when the police officers left, Kevin was taking their card and I walked in by the bathroom into the kitchen. But that's as far, we stayed mainly in the garage.
Oh, so you're saying you came out of the garage while the police officers were still there?
No, ma'am. When they left,
okay,
Kevin had opened the door and said, "I'm going to put this away."
Why wouldn't you come out of the garage?
the garage was kind of a safe place. It was more Kevin's area, and we heard a knock at the door, but since we were in the garage, we didn't know it was an actual knock at the door. And then it was a big bang, and Kevin said, "Oh, I'll go check that." And I just stayed in the garage. It is set up with chairs, and it's not like a typical garage.
So he never told you that it was the police there?
He never came out. Nobody came to the garage.
He didn't have a conversation with you before leaving the garage saying it's the police and I'm gonna
We had
probably
no
talk-"
idea. We thought it was Chuck, the neighbor, actually. He's like, it's probably Chuck, and answered the door. I had no idea the police were there.
It seems like, if you're with someone intimately, and someone comes to the door and that person goes to answer the door and doesn't come back for a while, that they're going to that person that you're seeing or dating would come out and see what's going on. Right. So I don't believe that. That's just kind of naturally, unless someone's hiding something, right? And they have a lot of reasons to hide. But I know that if me and my wife were in our room and someone was at the door and I went and answered the door, and it took me longer than what my wife expected for me to to come back to the room or to the living room or whatever the case is, she would come out, and I think that most people in those type of situations and those type of dynamics probably would come out. So I don't believe I don't believe her story. I definitely don't believe his either.
Nothing else, Ron.
Examination. Good morning, everyone. You said you've been engaged since September 2024, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just about a little over a year, right?
Yeah, that was because my mom was unhealthy and he wanted to live there.
Understood. It's fair to say that at some point, you two are hoping for a life together. Isn't that accurate?
Yes.
And Megan's marriage, you said, was scheduled to be in July. That would have been July of 2023. Is that right?
23, 24. Sorry.
It would have been the July after Marcy passed.
Yes. Sorry.
And you might not have had specific conversations, but there was a general understanding that at least someday in the future, Kevin would get divorced.
Yes.
On the 23rd, when you remained in the garage and the police came, you said you weren't aware it was the police, right?
I was not aware.
And you thought it was the neighbor Chuck.
I did.
Did you not want to meet the neighbor Chuck?
If Kevin wanted to, I would have. I wasn't hiding in the garage. Made that clear.
Okay. And the reason you didn't go in the house is because you just weren't comfortable being in the house. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Direct.
Yeah.
Can the witness be excused?
Yes.
I will reserve on this witness.
Cynthia Ward was not asked any further questions about the death itself. With the prosecution's motive established, the defense focused entirely on an alternative medical theory. They argued that Marcy suffered from untreated migraines and that an intense massage earlier that evening triggered a fatal seizure.
All right, now, Ted, would you be able to demonstrate the massage that you gave your mom on the CPR dummy there for us today?
Sure.
Can you show us exactly what you did?
Sure. You want me playing judge and jury?
That'd be great, so we can see.
Yeah. Usually I'd start at the shoulders, and I use my thumbs, kind of pressing in with the front fingers and back. And then sometimes I go to the side and kind of do some circles on the side. Sometimes I be kind of doing circles on both sides of the spine. And this could be with fingers, knuckles, or it can be with my elbow. I would also do knuckles here at the neck. I would also do elbow here and behind the carotid here. And then I'd also do it right about here on the neck. And that was the extent of what I do every time.
And you say that that's what you would do every time?
Every time. Not in the same order, but right about there.
And so your testimony today.
So if it wasn't clear, this is Kevin's son. So Kevin's son and Kevin's daughter are on opposite sides. Kevin's son is actually supportive of the father, while his daughter feels very, very differently. And so so it's interesting to see his testimony here, but he's testifying, hoping that this massage theory will help get his father off.
Okay, is that you would do this every time?
Every time.
Can you please just-
Sure.
Prosecutors challenged the theory as unsupported by medical evidence and inconsistent with the autopsy findings. In the end, the jury had to decide whether Marcy West died from a tragic medical event or whether her death was the result of a calculated decision.
Gentlemen, juror number one, I see you have some documents in your hand. Are you the presiding juror?
Yes.
The jury reached a verdict?
Yep.
Would you hand the documents then to the committee? All right, verdict in count 1A. We, the jury, find the above named defendant guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree. Verdict count 1B is blank as required. Verdict count 2A. We, the jury, find the above named defendant guilty of the crime of murder in the second degree. Special verdict form were Kevin West and Marcel West, intimate partners. Answer yes. All right, so I'm now going to poll you to make sure that these are your individual verdicts and that they were the verdicts of a unanimous jury. So I'm going to ask you those two questions.
Kevin West was found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder, a Class A felony in Washington. This carries the potential for a sentence that could keep him behind bars for most, if not all, of his remaining life.
All right. Thank you
The
very much for
sentencing-
watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're notified each and every time I upload a new video. I upload new videos on this channel multiple times per week. Also, be sure to go into the description box down below, subscribe to my Substack. That's where I keep people updated, not only on this case, but also on other cases that might not be getting as much traction in the news. With all that being said, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. You guys have a good one.